All right, so Republican Governor Ron DeSantis recently came out with the new Stop Woke Act to ban critical race theory from schools and workplaces. Now, I want to talk about this and connect it to a more broad conversation that I think is actually extremely important as it pertains to today's society and the different things that we are dealing with as a country. It's incredible how these politicians can get the American people to focus on things that, in the grand scheme of things, really don't matter as much, if any at all, in comparison to what the majority of people in this country are actually dealing with. So this is an article from the New York Post that outlines what's going on here, and then I'll talk about it. So Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis took another swipe against critical race theory Wednesday, introducing a bill to ban the controversial curriculum from K-12 schools in the state. The Stop Wrongs Against Our Kids and Employees Woke Act would allow parents to file lawsuits against school districts they suspect of teaching critical race theory and recover attorneys' fees when they prevail, the governor said during a press conference. Our legislation will defund any money for K through 12 going to CRT consultants, DeSantis said. No taxpayer dollars should be used to teach our kids to hate our country or hate each other. DeSantis, who has been touted as a potential 2024 GOP presidential frontrunner if former President Donald Trump does not make another White House bid, said people often fear lawsuits more than a fine as it puts them in an uncomfortable position. I think that gives parents the ability to go in and ensure that our state standards are being followed, he added. The bill, which will be formally introduced in the next legislative season or session, would also permit teachers to push back against what DeSantis called unlawful mandates from their elected district leadership and bar colleges and universities from hiring woke critical race theory consultants. Wow. In addition, the proposal includes provisions for employees to protect them from incidents of corporate wokeness, such as critical race theory training. We must protect Florida workers against the hostile work environment that is created when large corporations force their employees to endure CRT-inspired training and indoctrination, said DeSantis in a statement from his office, which cited reports of such programs at Google, Bank of America, and Raytheon. Think about what MLK stood for, the governor said, always with the MLK quote. He said he didn't want people to be judged on the color of their skin, but the content of their character. You listen to some of these people nowadays, they don't talk about that. Democratic State Senator Chevron Jones, the vice chair of the Chamber's Education Committee, accused DeSantis and Republicans of manufacturing a crisis out of a non-issue, adding that the governor and his team know full well that CRT is not taught in K-12 schools or workplaces. All right, the article goes on to talk about a little bit more, but I'll just stop it right there because I feel like I've said enough. Look, man, this is the new conservative shtick. If you've noticed, Republicans, their policies suck. Like the economic policies, foreign policy, everything sucks, right? So they have to come up with these issues, cultural issues, and spin it to the American people as if this is what matters the most right now. A couple months back, they were talking about Dr. Seuss, Mr. Potato Head. They'll, posture towards the immigrants. They'll tell you it's the Muslims. They'll come up with a whole assortment of shit as to why your life isn't as good as it should be. The single mom on food stamps. We got to cut the social welfare programs and shit. They'll come up with a bunch of shit to blame, for your terrible situation. They won't actually propose, any decent legislation on behalf of the people. They'll do it for the rich, of course. Donald Trump's 2017 tax cut bill is the biggest exemplifier of that. They'll do it for the rich and the business class and the fossil fuel industry and the NRA and everybody else, right? But they won't do it for the regular people. But this is another bullshit scheme that I would like to come out and debunk. And you know what? It's sad. It's very saddening to me, but I understand it. I understand it. The fact that many Americans are largely duped by this bullshit. They see these stupid arguments and they're like, oh yeah, he's right. We got to ban critical race theory because something, they said so. Oh, fuck. Man, if we took all of the issues that mattered, that we really need to take hold of and look at in this country, need I remind you, we're spiraling towards a climate disaster. I mean, and they have you believe that the concept of that is critical race theory, fuck what you think about it, whether you agree or disagree, That's what we need to do. Your children are being indoctrinated. We need to notice the wording here. We need to protect you, protect your children, protect the workers from this authoritarian indoctrination they're trying to force upon you to hate each other. What? What? Any person that's reasonable, that has any sort of an ability to understand, common sense, will look at something like critical race theory, see it for what it is, understand it. You can agree or disagree with it. It is what it is, right? And then you can go, okay, well, that's what that is. Let's focus on other things. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how they do it. And the reason they do it, and the reason they can do it, is that in this system, it promotes so much inequality and so much difficulty and so much hardship, and it's promoted by the corrupt politicians that run it. And they induce hardship upon the mass of people, the mass population. And when they do that, it makes it easy for people to turn to other things to cast their blame on instead of looking at the system, instead of looking at these insanely dumb and corrupt politicians that's actually and these corporations and entities, big pharma, the military industrial complex, the rich that run the government. They're the people that actually own the government. Our government is bought and owned by the rich and corporations, right? Instead of looking at, that, they have us look at, oh, well, here's another bullshit culture war thing to get everybody riled up. And they try to play into people's prejudices and, preordained bigotries if they have them. And if you don't have any, it's easy to come about with some, to find some, to uncover it. Because, as unsavory as I find the culture war and as stupid and as, something that doesn't really matter in my eyes, a lot of people look at it and think, oh, this is fiery. This is something that I want to put my energy towards. And, it is what it is. But I want to try the best I can to try to get people off of the ledge, whatever ability I have to do that. Because, look, this shit doesn't matter. If you took the American people and you polled them and you said, what are the top 10 issues right now in the country? Now, first of all, number one would be healthcare. Something like 30 million people are uninsured. Our healthcare system is a fucking scam. This idiot and people like him would have you believe that critical race theory matters more than the people not having healthcare. Guys, a tornado just ripped through Illinois, Kentucky, and surrounding areas, and the workers in this candle factory and that Amazon plant, if you don't know the story, look it up. They couldn't leave work because their boss said no. They're prohibited from leaving work. If they do, they get fired. So they stayed there, and some of them died as a result. We have text messages from a gentleman that passed away, I believe, from the Amazon warehouse, texting his girlfriend, Amazon won't let us leave. He ended up not making it out because he couldn't go home and shelter up and have a chance at survival because he was scared to lose his way of life, which is his job. Why aren't we talking about that? Why aren't these politicians discussing that? Why aren't they promoting workers' rights, more protection for workers? Why aren't they condemning Amazon and this candle factory for these ridiculous practices against the working people of this country? There are many things that actually matter. It renders me almost speechless to have to say that isn't taught in K through 12. It's not even taught in undergrad. It's taught in graduate level courses, but they don't care. They'll just lie to you and say that it is and create this problem that doesn't exist. Let me ask you a question. Do you seriously think that these politicians are above lying to you? Do you seriously think that they won't spin the truth? Really? If you think that, my God, do I have a bridge to sell you?